California Governor Gavin Newsom is facing backlash over accusations that he was racially pandering to the audience during a recent event with Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. Take a look.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
So he's calling the backlash kind of fake outrage, saying he was talking about his past struggles with dyslexia. And people say, is that how you took it? But what I'm asking is, what did the audience say? Well, did the mayor say he thought he was being pandered to?
No, the mayor made it very clear that he said, the mayor said, take it from someone who was actually in the chair asking the questions. Context matters more than a headline. The conversation around his new book included him speaking about his own academic struggles, including not doing well on the SAT. That wasn't an attack on anyone. It was a moment of vulnerability about his own journey. And what was fascinating to me was when they panned out to the audience, this audience was a mixed race audience. It was actually a predominantly white audience. Yet Sean Hannity tweeted, Gavin Newsom thinks a 960 SAT makes him like Black Americans. Let that sink in. I think Sean Hannity and those people on the right that are saying that this was about Gavin Newsom trying to pander to Black people says much more about Sean Hannity than it says about Gavin Newsom.
Where was Sean Hannity when Trump put out those pictures of the Obamas the other day?
Correct.
Spare me your outrage, Sean.
That's why it's fake outrage. This was not about Black people being dumb. And the fact that MAGA and the right are saying that it's about Black people being dumb when Black women are the most educated demographic in this country says so much about them. And it says very little about Gavin
I didn't even need
Newsom.
the context. In just watching the clip, you see that he's not saying anything bad about anyone else. He's saying, I'm not special, which just means I'm an everyman. I'm an every person.
I'm an everyday person.
And I think he's used this in so many speeches because he's sat at our table talking about dyslexia, that he didn't always test well in school. That's saying, I'm not chosen. There was nothing unique about me. I'm like you guys, which is in general what politicians should be representing.
About race.
It was awkward, and we should not take bad faith actors at face value. I mean, people who say this is racist but then do it 10,000 times worse, like, I don't pay attention to that. But I can watch that clip, and it's a little awkward. And the fact is that Newsom is trying to make his dyslexia a relatable issue. I think that is a little politically difficult, but fine. He wants to do this. He talks about it in his book. He talks about it in interviews.
Yeah. Yes, we talk about it a lot.
When he's been subjected to pushback on it, there was a Real Clear Politics reporter that emailed his staff, be like, okay, tell me about the diagnosis.
You know what it shows me?
They said, like, if you open up that Pandora's box, you want to talk about your dyslexia, do it and do it in a
I just told
way.
you that 69% of independents are against Trump. They consider Newsom a threat.
Yes,
that's why they're going
100%.
after him, and he is a threat. He's got a lot going on for him as presidential candidate.
He's the only one trying to run right now.
And that's
so
what
I give
this
him
is
credit
about.
for that.
I don't know if he's the only one trying to run, but I will say this. The thing about what seems to happen on the right is it's not about solving problems. It seems to about creating new problems to cover up the ones that they created.
Yes.
It is insane. You know what? I'm a dyslexic. I talk about it all the time. And it is relatable because there are a lot of us out there. There are a ton of us out there. And oftentimes, if you were Cher had as hard a time as I did in school. Dyslexia doesn't care what color you are. It comes for you and it gets you, and you don't know the numbers, you can't do the reading, you can't do the stuff. And yes, sometimes it becomes about saying to people, you don't actually want to know about this, you're looking for something. And that's where that have come from.
But he was saying you in a general sense, I thought. That's what I picked up. And he was looking at the audience, not particularly at the mayor.
But I will say, if the people in the audience had felt some type of way, or the mayor had felt some type of way, they'd get some backup. But they didn't feel that way.
But would the mayor really say, be rude in the interview? Of course he's not going to be.
Maybe
No,
after
I'm
the
talking
fact.
about after the incident. He would have written something, especially if someone had pointed it out. He would have said something.
Okay.
And
The mayor
I
was
think
being honest.
everybody should just back up. We know where the racists are. If you talk to people who actually have dealt with racism, we can tell you where they are.
Yes.
We point them out all the time, and y'all ignore us.